Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Publicly Buzzed Live. Really appreciate everybody being here on a Tuesday night. Let's see what's happening here tonight. We are doing, finishing up last week's Ed Kemper interview, the Rare 1991 interview that we had started. We're at the 45-minute mark, and we got about a little while still to go. It's an hour and 20 in total. So, yeah, welcome everybody in. Appreciate everybody for being here. Yeah, let me look through the chat here for just a second. What's going on? Holly Berry popping in. We'll go ahead and start off the night just right. Let me make sure that this is working, hopefully. Anyways. Seems like it's working just fine now. Holly Berry, thank you so much for being here. Say No to Globalism. Heather, Wild Side, City Kitty, Laura, Susan, going through the chat here just for a second. Shannon, thank you so much coming through. Bobby Hanson, thank you. Everyone, thank you all so much. Liz, see you popping in here. What's going on? Holly Berry coming through, $5. Happy Tuesday. Whoa, gonna get a little extra here. Boom, coming through. Mandy, what's going on? Thank you all so much. Appreciate it, guys. Yeah, we're gonna jump back into this. Beard's looking a little crazy. I'm gonna have to trim this thing up. It's looking absolutely insane, actually. It's getting hard to manage. Yeah, we're gonna jump back into this again. Ed Kemper interview. Will there be another Ed Kemper fart? That is the real question here tonight, folks. Last week, Ed Kemper passed gas live on Publicly Buzzed. And, yeah, Defense Diaries, Bob Mata, DefenseDiaries.com, actually pointed that out, I believe, in the chat last week. And, yeah, what the fuck? Heather, oh, we got an anniversary here. Love you all. 4-month anniversary. Hold on, I've got something specifically for this.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Anniversary! It's anniversary!
Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary.
Anniversary, Heather. Thank you. 4 months. That's absolutely unbelievable. Bam! Can't believe that. I love it. I'm going to throw you some beers in the chat there. A hell yeah in the chat. I'm going to throw you a gypsy head in the chat. A lick a drink in the chat. There you go. You deserve it. You absolutely deserve it. Allie coming through here as well. Blowing a little smoke. Gail coming through here. Still got some folks rolling through. We'll hold off just for a second before we get this thing rolling. Yeah, we got a banger show coming for you on Thursday. We're going to be talking some Idaho 4, Brian Koberger again, the alibi stuff. We had Bob Mata on Friday, on Feral Friday, and he got into a little bit of everything. We got into a little bit of AI. We got into the Karen Reed case, which I'm making a video out of now, and then he even talked a little bit of the new alibi stuff with Brian Koberger, which I also busted some videos out of. But yeah, we're going to have Lisa Ribakoff on here, and I hope I did not just butcher her last name. I was trying to get that before I came on here correctly. But she is going to be coming on to hang out with us, and I'm excited to have her on here. Give me 1 second, and I'll get her socials passed out here as well on the old Twitter machine, because I know she's entertaining as hell on Twitter, and I believe that she's excited that we have a pretty much like a late night show, so she could kind of say whatever she wants. But yeah, she's a New York licensed private investigator, and yeah, we are excited to have her on here again to talk some Idaho 4 stuff. She's also a polygraph examiner, so we're going to be asking some questions maybe in the polygraph hemisphere as well. I'm excited, man. It's going to be cool. But here, follow her on Twitter. Show her some love as well from the J-Buzz Nation. Throw it in the chat there. Boom. And yeah, excited to have her on here. Again, I'll bring her Twitter over here so you guys can actually see it on the screen. Boom. And yeah, she has been kind enough to come on the show and hang out with us. And yeah, I'm excited about it. Again, get some questions ready. Shit, if you have any questions for an actual, get on this camera here, for an actual private investigator and polygraph examiner, let's get those questions rolling again for Lisa. It's going to be cool. Let me look at the chat here just for a second. Everybody, Cammie, I saw you coming through here. What's going on? Happy birthday. I'm never going to stop. Throw a little bit of these in the drink in the chat here. Keystone coming through. Just watched the update on updated war footage. Got some Mary in the Cobb. Boom. Ready to rock and roll. I see ya. Hear ya, huh? Let's see what I'm going to give you there.
Shit. Son of a bitch!
Love it. I love it. But yeah, hopefully you guys will come and hang out. It'll be me and Dan with Lisa. So yeah, it's going to be cool. Afton, what's going on? Thank you for coming through here. Jessica Christie. Yeah, we still got some folks rolling through here. Thank you all so much. As we pile up, Joanne again. Kelly, what's going on? Thank y'all so much. As you guys do pile in, please hit the like. That really helps us out here at Publicly Buzzed. Gets us in the old YouTube algorithms. Yeah, if you're not subbed up and you come through this later on or tonight and you get to this part, do it. Please hit the sub. It really helps us out. Hit the 3 little dots on the side. Make sure all notifications are turned on so you get all community posts, all videos, and all lives, and you'll get notified when that happens, at least in theory. YouTube sucks at it, but in theory, that's what's going to happen. And then also share this out to your community. Share this out to Facebook. Share this out to Twitter. Share this out to Reddit. Share this out to any of the communities that you deal with, and let them know what you're watching. Whether that's with Jay, whether that's with here at Publicly Buzzed, whether that's when you're listening to the podcast with the Fence Diaries with Bob Mata, share it out. Let folks know that you're hanging out here in the J Buzz Nation, the J Bo Nation, okay, the J Buzz Diaries Nation, okay. We got a lot of hashtags to follow, but yeah, again, absolutely the best crowd that comes through here every single week, making this shit happen. It's awesome as hell. Ricky Cookerback's gonna come down through here, son of a bitch. I'm gonna give him one.
Dan's a fantastic.
Dan is fantastic, man. Fantastic, man. Thanks, Dan, for coming through here. Appreciate it.
I'm telling you like it is.
Telling it like it is. Right? Yeah, I'm always a little late when old Ricky Cookerback's coming through here. Nah, I love some Ricky Cookerback. He is going to be coming, hanging and banging on Thursday again. It's going to be a fun one. Hopefully everybody can come through. We're going to talk again. A little bit of fucking Idaho 4, a little bit of alibi stuff, a little bit of who knows what the hell. Actually, it could go into some Rex Heuermann stuff as well. That's what I like to hear. Throwing these out as well. Just to get her fucking started, baby. Strickdown coming through here. Thank you so much for being here as well, brother. Taking a test. Oh, whoa, a polygraph test. That'd be crazy. Whoa, that would be interesting. Yes, I am down. Let's go. Love it. Well, yeah, guys, we still have a little bit of this Ed Kemper interview to get through, and I know a lot of people have said have compared him to Rex Heuermann here as of late. I guess it's probably the size factor. I think Kemper's a little bit larger in total, but you know, I get the comparison in a lot of ways as well. Again, Ed Kemper is a very different serial killer. He's very highly educated. He's a very smart man. 145 IQ. And that was the second test. I think the first test was 135, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what I read. Crazy. He has an insane ability to communicate with people and to really kind of get you to really kind of listen. He's super interesting and intriguing, is what I find is wild, because once you really sit down and look at what this man has done, if you look at the rap sheet and you actually look at the murders, they're absolutely horrific. I mean, you name it, he did it. He not only killed, but he mutilated, dismembered, and he performed necrophiliac acts on dead bodies, on decapitated heads from the bodies. I mean, it could go on and on. Again, trigger warning on anything here, but yeah, we're going to go right back into this interview. I'll probably pause and give some thoughts as we go. Yeah, again, thanks everyone for coming and hanging out. Appreciate it.
So I see two kinds of tall men, or tall male or tall female personalities. Those who are very passive because of all of this thrust on them, or who are very aggressive and they use that and they apply it towards ends. You know, like the little guy who goes out and becomes the bank president and he's the champion this and did that and never saw the fourth grade. Yeah, because he's real aggressive because he's denied all those little attentions. He has to grab them and he has to go out there and put himself in the limelight. I get it naturally, so there's resentment. And little guys tormented me all the time I'm growing up.
Did you feel like an outsider, an outcast early on?
I always felt like an outsider, and it's again because I didn't ever fit in. I'd moved around a lot, for one thing. I went to different schools when I was in Los Angeles from age 5 till 7, when I'm going to kindergarten, first grade, second grade. I got in trouble in public school. And I look fondly back on those times because that's when I was acting out and I was normal. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I went around and kidnapped people in classrooms or broke windows out. We didn't get into stuff like that. But I was tardy and I was messing around and I was recalcitrant and I was getting bad marks for it. And my parents were getting called by the PTA. But you know what? That's a hell of a lot better than a few years later when I'm real spooky and I'm real quiet and nobody ever hears from me and I'm in school and I go home and very few people knew me because I'm in that basement and now I'm pulling into myself and now things are getting very morbid in their orientation. I start becoming fascinated with things evolving around death and destruction and evil and all of that. I'm not saying I became a Satan worshiper because I didn't. I was afraid of evil things. Afraid of those powers.
Let's go, Bobby.
That we all don't understand. And as a little kid, you know, I had a very, very strange orientation to those. I mean, it wasn't rational.
What was your fantasies at that time, morbid fantasies?
At what, about age 8 or 9?
Or later on, when you said you were thinking all the time about death?
What I was fantasizing about, I was building up big loads of frustration inside, big loads of hatred, because I had no outlet for it. I should have developed outlets, but I didn't know how at that time. So the outlets that developed themselves, or I developed without knowing it, were fantasies about me being the last. I got that out of a school book, this thing of being the last person alive on the world. And the thing that was posed to me in this textbook was, it was social studies, and it was meant to play upon the loneliness youngsters can feel, and that it's a very uncomfortable feeling, and you can't have love, and you can't have adventure, and you can't have excitement without being able to share it with other people, because that's where a lot of the dimension comes from. Okay, so they posed this thing at me, well, what if you were the last person in the world, and you had all these cars and airplanes and boats and ships and things to do, but nobody to share it with, right? Wouldn't that be awful? And I thought, hey, that's a thought. I never thought of that before. So it became a seed, like a little core to fantasies for me. Some mysterious thing has happened and everybody else is gone, and I got all these things I can do and no inhibitions, no restrictions. I can do what I want. I don't get yelled at anymore. Okay, that soon became very hollow. So I built upon that and added to it. Well, people were still around, but they were inanimate. They couldn't affect me. They couldn't hurt me. And then it went further and further and further until finally, by the time I'm reaching puberty, I'm approaching puberty, and I'm starting to sense myself, and I've already been accosted by a girlfriend, not sexually, physically, but emotionally. She's trying to, you know, she was a little ahead of me. We're the same age, but she was pretty aggressive, and she's a beautiful young girl. But I wasn't ready for that kind of relationship, and I was scared by it. She kind of cowed me into backing away from the relationship altogether because she wanted to get physical. She wanted to kiss and to neck and to smooch and imitate what she saw in older kids. And that kind of terrified me because I didn't understand the feelings inside.
At one point, your sister teased you also about a woman school teacher. And you said, if I wanted to kiss her, I'd have to kill her first.
Yeah, that had been you can imagine how that goes, the deep dark secrets that one sibling shares with another. It's troubling inside of me, so that was from that period, that more advanced period where people were still there, they just weren't animate. They could not react or respond to what I was feeling or what I was sharing, because what I was sharing was very embarrassing, very humiliating. It's hard to talk about now, really, because it's obviously it affects how a person feels about himself. But it's not too hard to get around that, because then I look at the wreckage I have behind me, the dead people, caused by my self-indulgence in fantasy life, and then my self-indulgence in not doing something about it, like getting help or taking action against myself even. A lot of people committed suicide at early age, and they don't understand why, you know. And a lot of times, again, by troubled parents and school counselors, they'll water it down into, well, he couldn't adjust and he was having a difficult time, so he took his life. I would not want to say too casually that they're probably pretty lucky he did. Not in every case, not even in most cases, but in some of those cases, you might have had some very inwardly violent young people that they had, on the one hand, prospect of they're about to act out, and on the other, in a very violent way or a very unsocial and socially abhorrent way. And on the other hand, they keep holding it in, you know, and they say, I can't do that. So they, you know, sometimes they kill themselves. I played with death. One of my favorite tricks back then was to go out and lay in front of the cars, in the traffic. I'm walking down the sidewalk with a friend, you know, it's a roustabout friend. And we're clowning around about something, and I'll say, hey, check this out, and I'll go lay in the street. Like a stiff. I'll lay in the street like I got run over. And a car comes driving by, and of course I'm expecting this guy isn't drunk. I'm expecting this guy isn't slightly demented and say, hey, there's a kid laying in front of me. Yeah, it's his fault. Thump, thump, you know, and just shift gears going over me. They always stop, and they jump out of the car and get all upset when I get up and walk off or run away. And, but it was a little game we played. He didn't go lay in front of the cars, though. I was doing that. You know, I laugh now because it's embarrassing, but it indicated, I think, how little I thought of myself. I think it indicated that a part of me would rather I got run over right then than I pursue what I was continuing to pursue in my life.
So everybody's still coming in here. Thank y'all so much for coming through here tonight. Really appreciate it. As you guys do come through, again, please hit that like. Helps us out here. Yeah, I think he is like 6'6", Mandy. He's a big bastard. Old Ed Kemper. Our fart face. The fart last week, that really happened. That wasn't a fever dream, right? Ed Kemper, in mid-sentence, just kept on rolling. No one acknowledged the fart. The French interviewer, he said nothing. Cammy going to come through here gifting out 5 memberships. Holy shit, Cammy. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Who's going to grab those bad boys? Giovanni got one. SRB got one. Afton got one. Kelly got one. And Not That Nikki got one. Hell yeah. Give the beers out in the chat, everybody. Boom. Look at them satisfying pours. Look at them. Look at them. Hell yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it. Get you off a little bit of, and I haven't done it yet. I'm going to have to do it. We're going to have to get a little Jim Leahy going just to get the evening started, quite frankly.
I'm sober enough to know what I'm doing, and I'm drunk enough to really enjoy doing it.
Thank you so much, Cammy. That's amazing. And also newly knighted, a.k.a. modded Cammy as well. And happy birthday again. Thank you so much. Everybody, again, rolling through here. I see Debbie's coming through here now. Again, Not That Nikki. Everybody that's rolled through as we've already continued. Tree Baby Tennessee. Really appreciate Fat Baby Toodles. Absolute legend around these parts. Yeah, can't do this, and we continue to grow because of motherfuckers like you. Thank you all so much. I see them beers. I see them beers in the chat, baby. And then a little bit of smoke, huh? I'll throw one of them up myself. I'll throw a couple of them right there. And then I'll throw a couple J-heads up too. Boom. Hell, he's probably passed out. He's probably cleaned himself to death today getting ready for Shannon to come back. Boom.
Because, you know, looking at myself and how I was developing inside, nothing good could come of that.
And you had also a great admiration for John Wayne at the time.
He looked a lot like my dad. And he acted a lot like my dad. My dad was kind of a big, loud guy. Actually, John Wayne was 6'4", had very little tiny feet. My dad was 6'7". He had little tiny feet. And you notice how comedians, when they imitate how John Wayne walked, there's this rambling thing with the hips waving, and they always do this trick. You ever wonder why? He didn't just pick that way to walk. I found, quite by accident, that very big men with very little feet.
The whatever you want to call it, the Montgomery Brawl, the Boardwalk Beatdown, the Riverboat Rumble, all courtesy of Kalen by names. But yeah, I actually thought about doing a video of doing commentary to that, but then I didn't do it. I really just didn't have time last night. But that would have been sweet, man. That thing was viral as hell. I've watched so many different clips. There's so many different angles of that fight. Highly entertaining. If anyone has not seen that, I'm sure there's no way that you haven't. If you're on the Twitter sphere or TikTok, I'm sure that you've seen it, or really any of the social media platforms. Holy fucking shit, dude. Bro at the chair, though. Man, just bashing skulls. Just taking bitches out. I may do that, Kalen.
Who have abnormally small feet have a tough time balancing, and it's a little balancing act they're going through. I went to Grauman's Chinese Theater after it was renamed. And
Shit, let's pause it one more time now. Allie going to come through, gifted membership. Tia M Just got that bad boy. Hell yeah. We'll do a few more beers out here now. We'll get smashed tonight. Welcome to the party, pal. Boom. And we'll give a satisfying pour right here, ladies and gentlemen. Can't get enough of those broskies. Look at them. Look at them. Look at them. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Allie.
Checked all those different footprints out, and here I'd grown up as a kid.
MVP up in here.
Not a very tall kid looking at other people being like this, much shorter than me. In my mind's eye, it was all balanced. And when I saw pictures of other kids
The Bell effect.
or other people,
I love it.
and there's this great difference. It was always shocking to me too, because I never saw it that way. But here I went, and I watch all these movies and TV programs, and I see these people as being bigger than me because I'm a youth. And then I go to this physical exhibit where it shows their foot size. And I step on John Wayne's boot print with his cowboy boot, and my shoe completely covers it over. It's gone. When I was 14 years old, I had bigger feet than he did. You know? When I was 14 years old, I had bigger feet than my father. I was 6'3½", he's 6'7". He works on a construction site as an electrician. I'm going to junior high school. We go to Kinney's. We get the same kind of Oxford shoes, black Oxfords. I wear a 14½, excuse me. I wear a 12½, he wears a 12. All right? In the mix-up of getting up and going to work and going to school in the morning, he comes running around the house looking for his shoes. He grabs mine. I can't find mine, so I go running around the house and I grab his. And all day long, I'm walking around with these pinched feet. I got blisters developing. He's flopping around at work, half a size too big in his shoe, and he says, "God damn it, got my kid's shoes again." And they're all saying, "Gee, Big Ed, you know, your kid, you got his shoes on and you're flopping around in them?" And he thought that was great. Well, that was a big laugh, right? Hey, I was kind of proud of that too, because it's following in Father's footsteps. When I was
Probably got a little foot fetish as well going on here.
14 years old, I put his old Army jacket on, his Class A uniform. I put his jacket on, and if I had pulled my shoulders forward, I would have ripped it right up the back, because I had broader shoulders than he had. My head's larger than his is. I have a very large head. I wear an 8 3/4 helmet for a motorcycle. 8 3/4 is very big. It's hard to find a helmet like that.
And actually, what's strange is that
This French interviewer's like, "Yeah, that's not what I asked at all. What are you talking about, sir?" So the murders.
another serial killer from Santa Cruz, Herb Mullin, grew up hating John Wayne, actually.
I wouldn't blame him. I was in a jail cell right next to him for months, and I was in prison up in the hole here in the lockup unit for...
Talking about the dude's name is Mullin, but the other serial killer that was active around the same time that Ed Kemper was in the same area, they were housed in the same area as well, just like Kemper just said. He, celled next to him. And there's a quote by Kemper talking about how basically, this guy liked to always annoy people and piss people off. And he would sing while they were trying to watch TV. And Kemper, being a very large individual, very imposing man, got pissed off at this and, basically said he's going to beat the shit out of this guy. And it got to the point to where the guy would start to ask permission to sing. And Kemper would give him, I don't remember what he said, but give him a peanut or something. Some kind of reward, though. So he built like a reward system for this fucking guy to basically ask him for permission to sing. Very, very, like a very interesting story by Kemper, though. But yeah, another serial killer that he's treating like that. That just shows the level of intellect and how smart this guy actually is. It's creepy, quite honestly.
Going on 3 years with him, about 2.5 years. And at one point, I got him a job in the kitchen. I was already on the kitchen crew.
Oh shit! Before we keep rolling here, Debbie going to come through here gifting out a membership. Who's going to get that? Dorian Constanti. Dorian Constanti. I think I got it. I think I might have got it. I might have sounded it out. Thank you. Welcome to the party.
Welcome to the party, pal.
And we're going to crack a few open for the new member. Thank you so much. First of all, Debbie, for being able to do that. Really appreciate that. Beers in the chat or whatever is your preference, because we got a couple of options there, especially for new members. And I appreciate that. Hell yeah. Jessica, as the interviewer even asked a question to keep this dude on track. Yeah, he just completely goes off the rails every single time. And he really just likes to hear himself talk. We were talking about that last week, right? All these serial killers, Kemper being no different, highly intellectual, also highly fucking narcissistic. gross individual, quite honestly.
Sergeant pulled me aside and asked me to talk to the guys about him coming on the crew because he'd alienated a lot of the guys and they were afraid there'd be violence. So I talked to them and there was no problem, so they brought him out to the crew. He worked a few months, and he goes to the main line. I'm still sitting in the hole saying, geez, what happened here? And, you know, I knew Herb, and I don't call him Herbert Mullin, and of course I don't call myself Ed Kemper III either. I never heard that in my life until I was locked up for murder, right? But little Herbie was, when I met him in Redwood City Jail, okay, our first meeting was I bumped him out of the priority cell.
Yeah, good point, Keystone.
Where they could look from the office and see through the steel door, the glass in the door, and see him physically, or they could watch the monitor and watch him. He got bumped next door.
I'm just going by like actual literal IQ level, Liz. I'm not giving this guy any praise whatsoever. Don't get me wrong.
There was a shower in the priority cell. Never had to leave the cell. For him to shower from the other cell, he had to go out into the main area. They had to lock everybody in one of the, I guess you call them tanks. They moved 15 guys, 30 guys out of the tank into the activity area. They'd walk him around into their tank. He'd shower. He'd come back out. Now, all the way over there and all the way back, they're catcalling him. They're calling him names. They're yelling because he caused them great interruption in their day, right? He resented that. He got bumped out of the priority cell into a non-shower cell.
Me too, Mountain Mama. Who's going to get this one right here? Holly Berry just gifted a membership. No way. We got a lurker out here. No way. Welcome to being a member, at least for the next month. I really hope you enjoy it. If you do, hopefully you'll stick around. But yeah, thank you, Holly Berry. Appreciate that for getting them in the door anyways. And we'll pass out some beers, huh?
Welcome to the party, pal.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much, Holly. And no way, yeah, one thing for new people that are members here, we'll go ahead and say it while we've got a minute. You know, once a month, members get an exclusive stream here. One of our regular streams, you know, I want to get to the point to where I can put out more content, but I already do a whole lot. There's already a lot going on here. As soon as I get more time, though, that will be definitely happening, more exclusive streams. But at least once a month, one of these regular streams, it's going to be a Tuesday or Thursday night. I like to do Thursday, so Dan can be here, too. I did one exclusive stream on Tuesday, and it just felt a little bit off, just because I didn't have anybody really to correspond with and go back and forth with. And I kind of like doing that, especially if it's going to be a members, because it's kind of a family-oriented thing. We're all just kind of hanging and partying, and unless we got a real story to go over, you never know. That's the thing. You never know here at Publicly Buzzed what we're going to be doing. So yeah, welcome to the party, pal. Is perfect actually, because yeah, it's a party.
The shower cell, right?
Boom, boom.
So
boom,
he wasn't too
boom.
friendly at first. And I'd say, excuse me, Mr. Mullin. I says, do you have a bar of soap? There's no soap over here. He took it all with him.
Love lurkers, though. Don't get me wrong. Love lurkers. I know not everybody wants to be in chat, and not everybody wants to chat or talk. That's awesome. Loaded, right here, Loaded Hot. He's nuts. That's a new name right here. Welcome through here, Loaded Hot. Appreciate it, at least for tonight. Community is killing it. Growing, baby. Doing it.
No need for it, but he took it with him. And he'd say yes, and I'd say, well, can I use a bar of it? He said, no. And I'd say, oh, I got one of these little shits here. And what it is, he's a little wimpy guy that hates big guys because he always feels intimidated by them, right? And that's how we started out. So I started thinking about that, and I went back to my old relationships in therapy and group therapy and Tascadero and youth authority and stuff, and I'm saying, okay, well, we can deal with this. So I said, well, I have to be kind to him. So I found out something he liked. He loved Planters peanuts. A little bag.
Oh, here it is. This is what he's talking about. I read this, but this is the story that I just mentioned. Yeah, he loved Planters peanuts, right? He's about to train this fucking serial killer. We have a serial killer training another serial killer with fucking nuts.
So I bought 20, 30 bags of them. I didn't care for them myself. And I offered him some one day. And they were both on camera 24 hours a day. So I said, Herbie, would you like some peanuts? And he'd say, yeah. And I'd say, oh, I got to him, right down to the inner core there. Yeah, this little childhood thing comes out. And I says, oh, here. And he was fascinated by this thought of, gee, he's just giving me some peanuts and I didn't do anything for him. I don't know him. I'm not being nice to him. Why would he give me some peanuts? So he comes over to the bars. We can't even see each other. And I reach out with these peanuts around the side. And I see this little hand come out. And I thought of it almost as a little monkey paw. That's what it seemed like. So innocent, and this little hand comes out, starts to reach for the peanuts, and then he hesitated. And he pulls back. And I thought, oh, geez, he's defensive. He's thinking I'm going to grab his hand and rip his arm off or something. I'm this great big guy, right? So without saying anything, I just reached around and I laid him on the bars and then pulled my hand away. And he took them and he enjoyed them and all of that. And I'd say, later I'd say, gee, Herbie, did you eat all those peanuts? And he'd say, oh, no, I still got some left. I said, well, I got plenty more. I said, go ahead and enjoy them. So what I did is I started giving him bags of peanuts. And he had this horrible habit. There's guys back in the tank, and he and I are in these cells facing them through 3 sets of bars. And I can't see him, and he can't see me. I don't know where on the set of bars he is. The set of bars is maybe 9 feet wide and, 8 or 9 feet high. And when he would get to acting up, he'd sit there for hours writing and writing at this little desk. And the other guys were ignoring him. So that night they're watching Saturday Night Special, with all this rock music playing and stuff, and they're enjoying it. And he'd get up and make this real loud speech about how bad television is for you and why you shouldn't watch it. All the things it'll do to you. And they're having fits. They're trying to throw things at him. They can't get at him. They're raging. They're mad because he's destroying the one thing they really enjoy. And he's just having a ball doing this. He'll sit for hours all day writing this 2-hour speech, exactly as long as it takes to watch that show. So he'd also sit over there and sing these horrible songs. He couldn't sing a lick at all. And he's singing these horrible songs. And one time I was in the car.
Oh, shit. Hold on now. Gail going to gift out one. Who's going to get it? Lori Grant. Welcome. Welcome. I see the beer's already flowing here. I'm a little bit behind now, guys. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Thank you, Gail. That's absolutely amazing. So that's what's awesome here in this community. If you are lurking, if you're thinking about chatting, and you're, I get it. I've lurked in plenty of channels myself. But this is a very welcoming community, not only here at Publicly Buzzed, but also over on Jay's channel, the J-Bo Nation, the J-Buzz Nation. These communities are forming something that's actually fucking quite beautiful. A lot of friendships are forming between a lot of people that otherwise probably wouldn't know each other in this life or in this world, or yeah, we'll say on planet Earth, because it's people from all over this place, right? I mean, it's not just exclusive to the United States. There's people all over. We get a lot of love here from the UK, from Ireland, from Australia, literally all over the place. So yeah, please, if you are lurking, don't be afraid, because there's a lot of cool people here, and as you can see, a lot of people. And if you're also hanging out and you don't have the your memberships, I think you actually have to turn it on to where you can get gifted memberships. But please do so, because as you can see, we have a lot of nice folks here, such as Gail, who will pass out some memberships here. And also, when we do that, folks, all the new people here, make sure you do this right here. They already know. Right? Boom. I just pulled an Ed Kemper on you motherfuckers. Well, I don't have to say it anymore. The beers are coming. The beers are coming, baby. Woo! Look at that. They're flowing like water. And Kaylin, I just made also a note to get the folding chair emoji. I think Friday we really will break down that footage. I think it might be funny. We'll see what happens anyways. We'll see what Dan thinks. Is Ricky still in here? Is Ricky hanging out? Ricky bailed on us. No, Ricky's here. We'll see. We'll see what Ricky wants to do. Yeah, love you guys though. Yeah, right there. Boom. Thank you so much. Make sure you're following Jay. And again, after tonight's stream, you're going to portal straight into his morning stream in the morning. The best friend trial. He's been watching that. I've been watching that. I watched that today with him. So yeah, you'll portal straight into that stream, which I think goes live in the morning. So yeah, and then Shannon will be back tomorrow as well. So we may actually get a glimpse of her on the stream. Ricky's right here. Ricky's right here. Yeah, Ricky. I've had a chance to talk to Dan about this. Have you seen, maybe I've sent him a meme or two. I don't even know. I've been so busy myself. But did you see some of the Alabama brawl? The Montgomery brawl that went down. Kaylin's ready for it, baby. Kaylin's ready to go. Let's go. Sarah's ready to go. Thank y'all so much. Seriously. Let's keep rolling here a little bit. We still got 20 minutes of this fuckface left. Can you believe it? I do find these extremely interesting. Again, I'm not giving any kind of praise to this guy whatsoever, guys. I don't want to, even when I'm saying he's a smart guy, I'm taking that off of facts statistically. Okay, I'm not giving him any kind of praise, so don't get that twisted here.
And the cop got so upset at the singing he's doing in the back of the station wagon, he turns around with his can of mace. He says, "I've had it. Get out of the way, Kemper." And I'm saying, "Hey, wait a minute. You're going to get me with that stuff." He's trying to mace the guy in the back of the car because he won't shut up. And he's trying to get him to shut up. And the guy just ignored him. He had this way of really getting in people's nerves. So he'd pull these little stunts, these horrible songs and the speeches and things. And I'd say, Herbie, why do you do stuff like that? He says, oh, I have a right to do what I want to do too. And, yeah, okay, right. So I started this, what they call just real basic behavior modification therapy. Okay, I'd had a little bit of psychology study. I'd worked in the psych testing area in Atascadero. I knew some of these things. So I set up a very basic and very essential, just bare minimum behavior experiment, behavior modification, right? You reward them when they're good, you punish them when they're bad. And if you're absolutely accurate in when you do these things, quick punishment when they do bad and quick reward when they do good. Supposedly, this is supposed to attack you at a subliminal level, a subconscious level, and you don't have a lot of control over your reactions, that it would improve your behavior, essentially. And then they have these...
Got to get somebody to make a picture, a painting, something art-related, more than I have the skills to do. Well, yes, Jay is dad, Shannon is mom, us as the boys, and Jay is the uncle. I think that would be hilarious. That would hang behind me in the new studio, 1000%.
Great elaborate experiments like in Youth Authority when I went through, where they try these things. So what I did is when he was bad, I'd get a cup full of water in a styrofoam cup, and I'd reach around and I'd throw it on him. And it's embarrassing, and it also gets his papers wet, and, you know. So we got in this cat and mouse game. When he was good, I'd give him peanuts, and I'd try to gas him when he was bad. It's called gassing. Throw this water on him. And he'd duck all over the house. I couldn't figure out where he was at, so I kept missing him. So what I did is I waited one day till I knew he was asleep, or I suspected he was. And I called one of the guys over to the bars from the place in the back, the tank. And I went like this. I went, and I says, and he reads it, and he says, and I said, shh. And I called him over to the bars, and I said, hey, I said, I want to work something out where I can get Herbie with these cups of water, and he can't figure out how I'm doing it. And I says, I just thought of a way. And he says, what's that? And I said, I want you to set up a grid on the bars where you're at. Put a little piece of string or a little piece of plastic or a little, something he won't notice. Count over how many bars there are on his cell front, and from the wall, go over that far on your set and set up boundaries. And then when I give you a signal that will be a hand signal, very casually walk over. Don't look at me, just casually walk over and drape yourself on the bars where he's at, so I'll know. And if he's back away from the bars, go back that far and position yourself so it's a grid, it's targeting grid. So he would do this, and Herbie'd hear me turn the water on, or maybe I'd have some already set up, and I would reach through the bars and I'd blast him. I got him every time. And he couldn't figure out how all of a sudden I got so accurate.
Hold on, missing it here. I'm not sure if I know how to say this name. And I know they've got a bigger channel here on YouTube also. Tayo Toys? Tell me if I'm saying that right. Becoming a buzzed and confused member, though. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Let me hit it, baby. Boom.
Welcome to the party, pal.
And we're going to crack a few open. Pass them out, baby. Probably already passed them out. I'm going to roll down through here in the chat. And then CR going to become, or no, is passing out a membership. And Lair Story is going to get that bad boy. Boom. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Got lost in Ed Kemper's story there. Go back up here real quick. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to pass a few out myself. I'll put up Jay in there. I'm just going to hide a J in there real quick. Boom. Ain't nobody know. Nobody knows. Nobody has to know. It's between us. It's between me and you, Leia. Wink, wink. CR. No one has to know about it. Boom. Get a little couple hell yeahs out there. Oh, hell yeah. Hold on. We got a little Stone Cold for you right here, baby.
You know? And it was without fail. I'd get him with that water, wham. And, you know, it's embarrassing, and everybody's laughing back there, and good shot, Ed, and all that stuff. And then I'd ask him if he'd do something, or hey, can we do this, or whatever, you know, and he'd participate in something with me. I'd give him peanuts. When he's bad, he gets blasted with water. This went on for 2 or 3 weeks. And he actually got away from the bad behavior when he said, hey, I want to sing. And I says, well, hey, guys in the back, do you mind if he sings? Oh, we don't want to hear that shit, man. I said, hey, you want to hear it now, or do you want to hear it tonight when you're watching the show? Yeah, okay, so go ahead, Herbie, sing.
What did you
And
sing?
he'd sing for 30, 40 seconds, and then he'd get bored and say, gee, I don't want to do this anymore. You know, because the fun was gone out of it. But the point is, it got a handle on his behavior. And the cops are watching this. The deputies are on camera watching me. I mean, they're on the monitors watching every move I'm making, right? And they're fascinated. They're watching this thing going back and forth with me and Herbie. They're not involving themselves. They're just watching it. And after a while, one of them come in and said, Herbie is completely cooperative now. He's not messing around. Because I've been, as we're talking, these little frictions out between he and I'm showing him some insights into why people don't like him. I'm showing some insights into what his behavior is causing in them. And he had realized by that point that it was just he's reacting to how people are reacting to him, and it's just a self-perpetuating thing. And it was the only way he could get out his negative feelings. And I said, well, why don't you pose on the positive? Focus on the positive instead, and the negative will go away. I don't think anybody ever did
We
that
rich!
before, 'cause he
Are we
responded
rich?
real well to it. And later when we were up here in the hole,
Yo, if we get $1 million, we gonna take this son of a bitch over. Oh my God! Imagine me if I had 8 extra hours in the day.
together, and we weren't even supposed to be together. They didn't want us together, but we were up in the hole together. I was the only guy he could talk to. A lot of pain inside, he had a lot of anguish inside, he had a lot of hate inside, and it was addressed at people he didn't even know because he didn't dare do anything to the people he knew, because he was aware of all of the structure around that, and that would be the end of his life. And so I started, the way I found out about these things is I would pose little comments or questions aimed at him as we're sitting up there on the tier, on the concrete floor, sitting there against the wall, talking to one another. And I would say, how did you feel? You know, what did you, when you bought that little Saturday Night Special 22, I says, did you ever go out shooting with that? You know, just target shooting? He says, well, not much. And I say, well, try this on. You loaded it up, you went out, you set up bottles, you set up cans, you set them around in little areas right around close and practice shooting them real fast. And he looks at me all shocked. He says, how do you know that? And I said, because that's what I used to do. And those were people, those weren't cans and bottles, and you never told anybody. So he got all fascinated about how I was able to read his mind and stuff. I wasn't. I saw a kindred spirit there, somebody who was doing something very similar to what I was doing as a child. He went to mental institutions, and he went through these processes where these doctors told him what was wrong with him, and these doctors treated things that they decided were wrong with him, and he just sat back very passively and went through these treatments, and they had almost no effect on him because he didn't dare say what was really going on in his head, because they would cast him off somewhere. He'd be totally separated from the human race, and there were certain things he and certain things I enjoyed in being in the human race and being part of the human race. We weren't willing to let go of. So that was that little desperate hanging on. So here comes these professionals saying, oh, this is wrong with you, little lad, and this is wrong with you, and we're going to fix this up, and okay, I'm well, and yeah. Goes out and buys a gun and starts killing people. And I talk about what happened when he killed those people. Oh, they fell dead. And I said, no, they did this, they did that, they gurgled, and some of them kept moving like you hadn't even shot them, and you shot them again. And he says, how did you know this? You weren't there. And I says, I know. I never told anybody that. I know. I was there on my own trip. I know what happened. Herbie, don't give me that bullshit about earthquakes, and don't give me that crap about God was telling you. I says, you couldn't even be talking to me now if God was talking to you because of the pressure I'm putting on you right now. These little shocking insights into what you did. God would start talking to you right now if you were really that kind of ill, because I grew up with people like that. Where? In a maximum security hospital for the criminally insane. Adults. I was 15 years old when I went there.
To go back before that time, when you ran away from your mother and went to your grandmother.
No, went to my father.
Yes, but
Correct.
afterwards,
Yeah.
when you went to your grandmother, you were 14, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you feel you had to kill her?
That was an outburst. It wasn't felt I had to. I went up there hoping, I didn't go there for one thing, I got left there. We went there for Christmas from my father's in LA. We went up to the mountains to stay for Christmas, and I got left behind. I was having friction with my stepbrother and my stepmother. There was problems there. We were vying for his interests, vying for his love. They were desperate because they're the new family. I'm desperate because I've never had the man of my life. I wanted my father's love. I wanted his approval. I wanted his recognitions. And we all got very greedy and desperate at that time, so we fought each other a lot. And it was a lot of friction, and he couldn't handle that, so he got rid of me. I was old family. I was already failure, so, you know, I got parked up in the mountains. There was a lot of dressing on it and window dressing and things, but I was up there with them for 10 months. At first it was okay, because it was the calm of being away from Montana. There wasn't the hellish stuff. I was going to a good school. As the months went on, the veneer went away. My grandmother had made agreements with me from the gate that she wouldn't get into little humiliating mind games with me like my mother and stepfather had done, right? And I agreed I wouldn't do certain things, and then this mind game stuff started up. She
I'm telling
decided
you
she's
like
going to
it
raise
is,
me
baby.
like she raised her 3 sons, and she's going to get rid of all this negative crap that my mother put on me. She's recognizing it as something my mother put on me, and I don't know that it wasn't. Some of it was. But a lot of it was my inability to deal with complex, critical, psychological situations. I could not deal with them. So I resisted it. I ran away. That was my answer, to run. I ran.
Yeah, he, oh, no, I lost the one I was going to put up, but he tries to manipulate, as you can tell, even this interview right here in real time, so you know what he's done his entire fucking life. And he did it, if you guys read about this dude, because he killed his grandparents at 15 years old, all right? Then he was put in a mental institution until he was 21. That's when he was let out. And then while he was in the mental institution, he convinced them that he was fine. He actually got into a position inside during this time period where he was administrating the test, like psychological tests on people. And I think he actually got to where he was helping come up with new ways for these tests. And I think he says this is part of the way, basically helped get him to where he could manipulate better. He's a crazy one. He really freaking is. The story's nuts. And then, you know, once he got out, started living with his mom, could not contain himself after the arguments, would go out and start killing. They called him the co-ed killer. An absolute horrible piece of shit person. But like the story's really intriguing because, and again, I go back, I hate to keep harping on it and mentioning it, but the intellect that comes with this person is what makes it so interesting and intriguing. You know, all the serial killers that we see interviewed, you know, Bundy's pretty smart, you know, in the interviews. Even Charles Manson. I'm not really saying Charles Manson's a serial killer because he's really not. But you know, he gets lumped into the I guess the celebrity mass huge killers. That's what we'll say. But still, he's not an idiot. I mean, he talks really really wildly, but you can tell he's not an idiot. But this is a different type of speech right here that I feel like Ed Kemper, excuse me, brings. It's highly intellectual, and he sucks you in. He sucks all of us in. I feel like. And then you kind of have to take a step back and realize, oh no, wait, this guy is an absolute garbage can piece of shit. And then he'll talk about being a piece of shit, you know, smartly. It's fucking weird, man. I don't know. He's an interesting one. He trips me the fuck out, quite honestly.
From the people in Montana, I ran from my mother in Montana. I let my father park me up there to get away from the strife in LA. Now I'm stuck. All the bridges are burned because my grandparents are there 24 hours a day. I can't run from them. She never let me get out of her sight for more than an hour without yelling my name out to see where I was. She was convinced I wanted to go down the mountain into town, Little North Fork, to hang around with kids, rowdies and stuff, and be a juvenile delinquent. So she would never let me go down there on my own. She'd never let me leave the property. And it started simmering, I guess. Started building the passions and the tension. I started developing the fantasies toward her from my mother, killing her. And in the decapitation fantasies were even there. They were in place by then already. And
what are those fantasies?
Ogre V1, version 1.
What were they?
Yes.
Possessing the severed heads of women. Men didn't turn me on. That wasn't I couldn't appreciate the appearances of a guy. I'd see movies as a youth, and I'm seeing, this was not common, but it was a frequent feature in some movies where they use a shock effect. They'll have someone get their head cut off, or there's a head sitting there when they come around the corner or open the drawer or something. And it went from, that got caught up in my morbid fascination. I made a comment and someone wrote about it that that when I was young, I was about 8 or 9 years old, I went to this little come-on. It was like at a record store or something, and they had this crowd of kids there, and there was a magic show. And this guy, you've probably seen it, the fake guillotine, hand pressed, and they put the potato there, and someone puts their neck in the brace, and they slam this thing down, and the potato down below chops in two, but the person's head doesn't fall off, right? And everybody gets very fascinated by that. Oh my God. And then when he puts the blade in place and he pushes it down, it goes through that neck hole. But it never chops anybody's head off. Okay, so he wanted to volunteer out of the, I'm not standing in this crowd watching this show, and he wanted to volunteer out of the audience, and some quite beautiful little 16-year-old girl gets up there and it's a big laugh and you're all giddy and stuff. And I start getting caught up in this. I said, wow. Right at that moment, I departed reality because logically, I should have been able to ascertain that that could not happen. You're not going to get away with chopping somebody's head off in the middle of, in the middle of Helena, Montana, the capital city.
What's that?
But the concept of it was so raw and it was titillating. I says, wow, gee, I gotta watch this. And he had her girlfriend.
What cartoon character is Ed? Shannon. I mean, I would say Shrek, but I don't want to fucking insult Shrek, quite fucking honestly.
I'm telling you like it is, baby.
Son of a bitch! Burn!
Come over and put her hands there to catch her head so it wouldn't fall in the basket, you know. And he was making jokes about this. I got caught up in this interplay between normal concerns. You don't want to get a bump on her head. Well, hey, if you're chopping her head off, it doesn't matter, right? And this is catching in my mind. Saying, wow. And
next week on Murder Shrek.
Naturally, everybody let out a shriek, and they're all excited, and oh wow, and as he chops, the potato falls, and her head doesn't go in place, and he unlocks the brace, and she gets out laughing, and he gives her some little prize for coming up and
I agree. That's why I said that. I like Shrek. I don't want to insult Shrek.
In the experiment. That's the first time I'd ever seen a show like that. You know, you see things like that on TV, it's one thing, but to be there and watch things like that, you get more caught up in it. And I went from there. That became another piece. That's the only way I can really, the only event in my life that I can align that fascination with was the fact that she was a very alluring young lady. I'm coming close to approaching puberty. I think I hit it a little early because between the ages of about 10 and 13, I was going through some incredible emotional shifts. And they say that going into puberty for young men and girls, I guess, is a very, very upheaving time in their lives. And without a lot of positive input from parental or adult figures, it can go in some really wild directions. In my case, it was embedded in this negative orientation thing. I would go back to my basement bedroom and I would fantasize.
Is there another fart? Did we miss another fucking
I'd
fart?
go off into fantasy worlds that got
It's a pretty good one. He'd probably make a good Herman Monster. Another insult, as I like Herman Monster.
Vengeance on my enemies.
Monster.
It got even with the bullies who picked on the kids and me in school. It got even with someone who slighted me. Even adults, I mean, they talk in various relationships how we have our darker side, and there's things that you have thought, as an example, that you'd never want to share with anybody because they're so cruel.
They don't stop.
So unspeakably
about 5 minutes left.
What's going on, that you would be too ashamed to share it with someone. Like, boy, I'd like to knock his head off, or I'd like to kill this guy, or she's such a bitch, you know. We all do that.
Double J's in the chat. Double J's in the chat. Yeah, Herman Munster was a sweetie. He was an absolute sweetie. Yeah, I'd take that back as well. Again, I don't want to put him next to anybody. And again, I was thinking cartoon character, but any kind of character. I don't know.
I didn't know that. So I'm adding to the problem, the impetus of this negative orientation. I must be really
You got me.
a kid because I'm thinking all these horrible things. I was thinking of them in increasing amounts and increasing frequency, so it's a kind of conditioning. And negative conditioning that I wasn't aware of other than effect. I noticed that if I worked on a
No, he
service
hasn't. Like, as soon as he said the very first thing to him, and even out before the interview started, then I just saw his interview. Is this? Are we doing the interview? And then the next scene is them sitting. I think he's broken in like 2 or 3 times.
a certain kind of pattern,
Literally in an hour and a half.
Right. After a while, it became numb. It became
He's loving
insignificant.
this.
It became not enough.
Loving it.
So I had to add embellishments to it, a new level, and it just very subtle. But over many, many years, it just kept going more and more.
Some say it's still going on to this very day.
Known young people that I've been able to talk to honestly, and knowing them well enough and friendly enough over enough years, share with me, because it was of real importance to me to know where I dove off the deep end. And they would admit that sometimes went off in.
Ricky, that's literally every show we do. I've like got my notes, and then I'm like, all right, I didn't get to any of these notes because the show just rolls.
To happier orientations.
Now, I'm with you, Liz.
Where they went off into some
Fuck this motherfucker.
morbid
I'm with you.
negative fascinations, but they grew out of it, quote unquote, grew out of it. It stopped providing a service that they needed. It stopped filling a hole or a gap, or let's say an adult came along and started sharing something with them or showed them a new avenue of acting out that completely obliterated that need or vacated it, and they let it go. I didn't. The adult wasn't there. My mother was there. I mean, she was there to beat me. She was there to humiliate me. She was there to use me as an example of how inferior men are. And that was a great little lady there. She kind of preceded this female movement we have now.
That's making everybody in the chat straighten up right now. Wait, what? We got to, you know what? That makes a lot of fucking sense. No, I don't like that at all.
Of getting rights, of getting equal rights, of getting equal standing, of getting equal presence in various theaters.
But actually you had experimented...
I was finding out the hard way what women's rights and women's antagonism. I mean, women are drove about things like that. They get upset about the belittlements they get and the lack of equality that they have, that they experience. Unfortunately, my mother developed, and it's not fair to talk about a dead person that way. They can't defend themselves. They can't give you another perspective on what really happened. I can only surmise to try to be fair. Looking back on it, I'm seeing that she was making an effort to balance her pain with what she was experiencing. And if you look at her dad, he's a wimp. He never did anything. Mom did everything, you know, so she orientated toward her. So she comes out doing that stuff. I find out in sociological studies and psychological studies, that's normal. Not necessarily healthy, but that happens. And my dad, being the wimp out of his family, goes and finds my mom, who's the dynamo out of her family, and they get married, and it'll either work or it won't. And in his case, it didn't work because she kept hammering on him. She wanted him to change this. She wanted him to change that, and he couldn't handle that. After 13 years, he'd had enough. What I resented was I had a mother, I had a father. Father worked, he brought in a big paycheck. We had a nice house, we had friends, we went to school, right? We had birthdays, we had Christmas, we had vacations. He had Saturday night with the poker buddies out in the guest house by the garage. We were living pretty good. And she absolutely hated that. This stereotypical response of this deadhead, this muttonhead she's married to, of wanting to go out and play cards and smoke beer and with these old war buddies. See, I had another problem. My father was in the 1st Special Service Force in World War II. They did a book and a movie called The Devil's Brigade. He was a combat sergeant in that group. And he volunteered for that as a single man. They would not take married men.
Thank you, Angel. Appreciate
That's how
that.
my parents met.
Seriously, and I know it's annoying as fuck. I totally get it. But every single time, the numbers actually do go up, and people do forget. So yeah, please hit that like, guys. It really does help out the channel. Lets people know that people are paying attention to this and liking it and watching it. And yeah, I really appreciate it also.
She was working as a secretary in Helena, Montana, the capital city. He's a few miles out of town at an old, retired, closed-down cavalry fort for the U.S. Army that was reopened as a secret base for these guys to train out of at Fort William Henry Harrison.
That'd be cool, Angel. Okay, that would be cool. All right. That one, I might do that next Tuesday as a follow-up. We'll see how it plays out, but that might be a good idea, Angel. I like that, actually.
just outside of town.
We'll see how it goes. We'll see if we're completely sick of Kemper, and I may do that a little later. We'll see, because I'm going to be honest, but that is a little bit different too. That's a little bit, and we're also doing the Murder Church with Domron. No, that's a good idea. No, boom. I'm working it out in my head in real time, live on the internet, Angel, and I think we're probably going to do that next Tuesday. That's a good idea.
They got to know each other. They quite, it wasn't secretly, but it was very quietly got married, because if they'd have known he got married, he'd have been kicked out of the group. This is what was described as a suicide brigade. 5,000 men trained in all his devastation ways, right? He goes off to war, and he does some horrible things. He can't talk about those things.
We made it, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, the 1991, and there's other, and the one, I think there's one from 84, 83, 84, something like that. I may visit that one, because I'm going to be honest, I do get a lot of intrigue and interest out of these interviews. They're fucking crazy, quite honestly. If you really think about it, these individuals, these people, they have committed insane acts. And again, if you get deeper into the actual mindset of it, which in this case we can with someone like Ed Kemper, who is very fucking open about it. I'm just making sure I'm not muted. I'm not. That would be my luck. But yeah, it blows my mind. When you get access, again, he doesn't do interviews anymore. And it seems like a lot of these guys don't do interviews anymore. And if they do, maybe it's through, via phone. It doesn't seem like it's a trendy thing anyways. Maybe that's the wrong word to use, but you don't see a lot of serial killer interviews in real time at all anymore. Back in the day, you see a lot. Again, Charles Manson, take it for example. There's interviews throughout a long period of time, even there's some in the 70s when he's already in jail. Very few, but in the 80s, there's a few, and then in the 90s, there's a few. I think the last one is from like 94. If I'm not mistaken. So, and I think there was a law passed where they basically wasn't going to interview these guys. And I get it. I also get that from a point of view of the victims. And in the J Bo Nation and J Buzz Nation, we're definitely 100% for the victims. So I get it. I totally understand that. But I think there is something to be learned here. Anybody that has watched the show Mindhunters from Netflix also probably is familiar with Ed Kemper and a lot of these names that I bring up. And again, they were studied. Their brains. They had interviews with these people, and again, they learn a lot in the future that can help them catch people just like this, just like what happened with Rex Heuermann. They can put together a profile. Interesting stuff. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Appreciate it. Let me look through the chat here, see what's going on. Just real quick. Again, thank you all so much for hanging out. That's true. Could do a poll about that. That's a good idea, though. I know you've been, and I've wanted to watch. It's the thing. I don't have a lot of time, honestly. I work 40 hours a week, plus sometimes, and do 4 live streams a week, and also put out, videos after this. Me and Dan have to do a little something working on the stream. We're still trying to get, we were talking about Feral Friday together. Basically where when we have guests on, hopefully we can figure it out before Lisa Rabakov comes on here, because I'd like to have it figured out where she can just click one link, come straight on with sound, doesn't have to go through Discord. That'd be dope. So we'll figure it out. Hopefully if Ricky's still in here, that's what we're about to do. If he'll jump in Discord, and we'll hang out and try to put in a little work, baby, because that's what we do here at Publicly Buzz. We're fucking putting in the motherfucking work, and I think it's showing. And all you people here hanging out randomly on a Tuesday, I think prove it. It's dope. It's awesome, man. Give yourself a round of applause. I don't have a round of applause to give you, but I'll give you a little bit of a.
I'm sober enough to know what I'm doing, and I'm drunk enough to really enjoy doing it.
A little bit of Jim Leahy. That is in here, isn't it? Yes, it is.
I'm telling you like it is, baby.
You can get a little bit of all of it. A little Stone Cold.
Son of a bitch!
Love it. You guys are the best. Again, Thursday. Lisa Rabakov is going to be coming on here. Private investigator, polygraph examiner. Is that the right terminology? I did have her, and I'm going to put it back up here again. I should still have her hanging out. But I'm excited to talk to her about multiple things. We're going to be, we are going to talk about multiple things, but on the topic, on the thumbnail is the Idaho 4 Bronco, the alibi stuff. Let me pull that off just here for a second. You can kind of see that there. No, actually, I'm doing the full screen. But anyways, yeah, polygraph examiner. I think I said expert. But yeah, I'm excited to have her on here again. Here is her, and I need to get the stream element set up to where I can just put her in the put her socials in the chat here with commands. So I'll have to do that before Thursday as well. So a little bit of extra work still got to happen here, folks. But it's going to be a banger show, I think. If you have any polygraph questions, come through with those. If you have any private investigator questions, come through with those. If you have any Idaho questions, come through with those. I know she's been extremely close with the Long Island serial killer case with Rex Heuermann. She's been doing a lot of talking on that. Yeah, she was on Jay's channel a little bit ago. She's awesome. I'm excited. We've been talking. She has a really cool personality. I think she's excited that this is a late night type show where you can kind of hang loose here on the old intro nets. Pookie, I hope you start feeling better. I hate to hear that you've been kind of sick. Yeah, we're going to get in that brawl. The Montgomery brawl, baby. That ass whooping that happened out there. You know, world champion, world heavyweight champion, baby. That chair coming through. I've seen so many funny memes, though. Yeah, Defense Diaries, Bob Mata. Always keep an eye out. Please go check out some of the videos that I just dropped. Him talking about the alibi with Brian Koberger. Super interesting stuff. Let me look through the chat here. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. You guys are fucking awesome. Love this. It is, Debbie. Yeah. I mean, he's a fuckface. I'm not a fan, but it's interesting. It is interesting. I know. The fact that Mindhunters got canceled is so disappointing. I loved Mindhunters so much. Like, do you remember that period, like real Mindhunter fans in here? There was this period where you thought it might be coming back and they were even teasing it and the actors didn't even know. And I think it was the creator. Whoever, it was one of the actors, maybe they even created it. Whoever the fuck created it, though, all of a sudden just decided, nah, we're done. I don't think there's anything else we can do here. So disappointing. Afton, thank you. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate it, bro. Stevie, my man. You guys are the best. We are, Jessica. I'm terrible at that, but we are definitely planning on actually making. I think we're just going to go to the courthouse. We're going to do a little old school. We're not really doing anything crazy. We just got to find some time to do it. But thank you for asking, Jessica. Appreciate that. As I always say, I always throw it out there, right? It's fun to say. My fiance. I gave her the ring. I bought that shit, so might as well fucking say it. Let's see here. Only Dance, baby. Only Dance in the house. Man, going to be on the lie detector test. Going to take a polygraph from Lisa. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Woo. Yeah, Thursday night, this Thursday. Lisa Rabikoff. I believe that's how you say it. I'm pretty sure. New York licensed private investigator and, again, polygraph examiner. I think she's actually going, I think she's going to a prison that day, actually, before she comes on the stream. She's going to be giving somebody a polygraph for their defense. I think I saw her tweet that, so good stuff. Yeah, right here. Check that out. Make sure you check that out. Have a Feral Friday where PubliclyBuzzed and Jay and Bob Mata get hooked up to the polygraph. Holy crap, that'd be nuts. God, we'd have to fly in somewhere and get that going, wouldn't we? Friday night is when I go snipe hunting. That's what I like to hear, Pokey. Pokey's in my neck of the woods, baby. All right, I'm catching up on chat. As soon as I catch up on chat, we're going to end this bad boy. Finally catching up here. Boom. Mandy knows. I'm probably talking. Y'all already, yep. You're already on top of it. I'm just out here talking shit. I wasn't caught up yet. See? Y'all know me. Y'all, everything. They already know. See, the best mods here, folks. Pokey, Mountain Mama, Stevie, Mandy. Killers out here in the mod game. I don't even know if y'all know. Cammy, newly modded, newly knighted. Happy birthday, Cammy. Okay, I'm catching up here. I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything important. Yeah, she was really good on Jay. I liked her a lot. She was cool. She's super down to earth. That's what I really loved about her. Mandy, you got to catch up on this brawl. It's crazy. Laughing Stock. I'm not sure if I said what's up to you. What's going on? Have you guys seen a guy in a Rev Gang sports bra? I'm not sure if I'm in on that joke. Ricky, I don't know how you missed it. I know it's everywhere. It was so good. So good. So good. I'm catching up. It's happening. Wild side. God, I think we're getting there. Portal is coming. Yes, Mandy's calling it. Mandy's calling it. God, you guys keeping it rolling though. Hold on. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything crazy. Bianca K rolling through here. What's going on? Appreciate it. Give you one of these.
Son of a bitch!
Woo!
Dan's a fantastic.
Dan's a fantastic man. You guys are the best. Love you guys, everybody. Woo! Yeah, right here. Spend the money on the reception. Don't worry about the ceremony. We did ours in the backyard and it was a blast. That's the idea. I think that's absolutely the idea. Any of that money's going to go on the party, the after party, baby. And if you know me, we're going to fucking throw the fuck down, baby. All right. That would be, well, she's shy. I don't know if that would be cool though. Portaling over to Jay's stream, Coco. It's happening soon. Get ready. Everyone, pull your knees in. Get ready. It's happening. Here we go. In the morning, I'll see everybody in the chat over on Jay's. We're going to be hanging out as he watches the Best Friends murder trial. Let's rock and roll, baby. Let's go. First of all, let me make sure I got it set up. I love you guys. Portal.